see yourself possibly being, and understanding what's happening in those. And then I think also whatever your major, so could be anthropology, for example, doesn't have to be business or STEM or whatever, but just show some more, more initiative in your field of study, so people really realize whether you did research for a professor, whether if it's anthropology, you got a grant from something and studied somewhere over the summer, but just showing a lot of initiative so that whatever your major, it may not be applicable to that first job you're applying for, but you can show a passion and accomplishment in whatever that major was. Those would be just a few things that I'd share at this point, and I'll add some more in the next session.
Great. What about Tim Manning? What about you?
Well, I'm not sure I would do a whole lot dramatically differently. I think, as Neil said, I think you want to get involved and show really some good initiative in the area that you're interested in, but be open to a lot of different things. I was playing a sport at Cal, and therefore I wasn't too concerned about what came after Cal. I was more worried about the sports. Not that I ever thought I played professionally, but I just really wasn't thinking that far ahead. And as a result, I probably stubbed my toe a few times on a couple of jobs initially, but it did teach me some. It showed me what I didn't want to do, because I got into some areas that others told me I should be interested in, though I never really was interested in it. But eventually, you find your path. Again, don't be worried about knowing everything and feeling like you know exactly what you want to be just coming out of school. Be open to different paths, learn from them. Again, sometimes you'll learn what you don't want to do, and that is valuable to you. But start thinking about the type of culture you want to be in. Do you want to be around other people? Do you want to be interacting with others remotely, face to face? What are you good at? And if there's one area that I've seen really blow up, and I think we'd all agree, in the data science, the area of data, understanding analytics, how to make insightful decisions around those are the things that if I were younger, and I'm telling my nephew, I have a son who's at Cal, who's a sophomore right now, but I've got nephews that are asking me these similar questions. I'm just telling them really get comfortable with data and how to interpret data to make good decisions and gain insights. And those are some of the things that no matter what you go into, I think that'll be a very valuable skill set for you.
Great, thanks. Okay, next question. Lee Dresser, I'm gonna start with you. What skills would you say you took out of SAE that applied to success in your career? And I know we're talking to a doctor, so, as a medical person, did you learn something at SAE that still applied?
I think probably, and I realize that I'm the minority here. I'm talking to a lot of business people, but I think no matter what field you go into, you have to deal with other people. And I think being in a fraternity with 50, 60 guys, you obviously are dealing with a wide variety of different personalities, and when you're living in a house of 50 guys, you have to get along. And I think that the interpersonal skills you learn, the leadership, most of the pros had a chance to be in a leadership position, at least some of the time. I was, for half a year, I was EA towards the end of my time at Cal. And I think the ability to interact not only just with the bros in the house, but also with the alumni, kind of learn that you have to compromise. It can't always be your way. Even in medicine, you're interacting, teaching residents, teaching students, just interacting with other people on the in the hospital hierarchy. I think that's the very valuable skills to learn. I think that being part of a fraternity was really helpful. I kind of still think back about some of the experiences we had. I think even though it may seem a little trivial, I think just putting together South Seas, which is the big spring quarter party we had, you really learn the value of organization, and how when 50, 60 guys all have a similar vision and cooperate, you can do something pretty spectacular.
Okay, so next question. And I can't remember, it was John Campbell on. I can't remember if John was on. I don't think so.
I don't think he was.
Okay, yeah, okay. So Ross, I'm gonna go to you. And the question are, what are 3 to 5 things that you would say someone should do to be successful in their career?
Sure, I think Neil's touched on this earlier. Networking, obviously huge. And don't be afraid to tap your parents or our network early in your career. I'm the father of two kids in the young professionals, and so often they'll be like, "Well, but Dad, I don't know that I really want to ask so and so for a favor." It's like, no, lean into it. I mean, people want to help, right? We're on this call to be mentors and advisors and references for you all someday, and use LinkedIn. I mean, tap your network. Granted, it's small right now, but see who you're connected to connections, right? Or parents or friends or church or SAE or what have you. So definitely tap your network, because that's how things are done. Similarly, as important as your digital persona is, and you all, since you were in diapers, have probably grew up with iPhones in your hands, and you are digital natives, and you're always going to start first with technology, right? And apps and websites and what have you. But at the end of the day, that we are human, and there has to be a human connection. So whatever you can do to get face to face with someone, it's going to happen when you're interviewing for a job, and you're going to get put through the ringer. And I'm sure you've all done interviews before, and the magic happens when we're face to face. And in COVID times, this is the next best thing, and it works quite well. So networking, be human, and as part of that, empathy, super big deal, especially as you get involved in business. It's about you, but more importantly, when you face an upset in the workplace or in your personal life or whatever, put yourself first in the shoes of the other person. Be empathetic to them and what in the hell is going on in their world, both personally and business, the greater socioeconomic climate, whatever it is, and feel genuine empathy for them. And they're human, and they'll likely mirror it back, and you'll have a far greater outcome. So those are a few things. And the last thing would be I think there's so much pressure on all of you today to get out, graduate, get a job immediately. Yeah, that's important, and make sure it's the right decision. And if you jump into something just for the sake of, well, I got to start paying back my loans or what have you, that's cool. But it's never too late to pivot. Just a quick sidebar on my son, communications major, like I was at Cal. He went to San Diego State, but he's always sort of, geeky and nerdy and, loved technology. And so he basically, taught himself how to code with a lot of online classes that you all probably bet a bunch of you have already done that. And afterwards, he went to a coding boot camp in San Francisco called Hack Reactor, 3 months of immersion, 6 days a week. It was hard as hell to get in, but basically when you get out, you're a full stack software engineer. And now he's a pretty senior software engineer at Coinbase. So as this piddly old, communications major out of San Diego State. So don't worry about your background. Granted, Cal on your resume, sweet, right? I'm still proud to say I'm a Golden Bear. And just lean into whatever you want to do. There's so many resources available to you. And if at first you don't succeed or you aren't enamored with your initial professional choice, make a pivot. I mean, everything's moving so fast today. You can do whatever you want.
Great, thanks. So it's going to be a fairly similar question, but I'm going to apply this to Joseph and Craig. I'm going to start with Joseph. What are 3 or 5 things that you would say someone should be successful in building a business?
So I've built and sold 2 businesses, one small business and now a software company. And the reason that's not what I set out to do, right? I'm passionate about Pilates, right? And making people in health and wellness. And that's what I would suggest for you to look within your own self. What is it that's something that you are really passionate about? And then okay, well, how can I make a living off of that, right? You want to be the niche of the niche of the niche, right? You find something that ignites a passion in you, and then you drill down into it. And as far as starting your own business, as the other gentlemen have said, people want to help you, right? I'm proud of the fact that for this last startup, I raised $1.1 million in startup capital, which just started out with an idea in my head. And a lot of that came from friends and family who wanted to see me succeed in what I was pursuing. And then as you move down, surround yourself with professionals, right? whether it's you're hiring an accountant or you're hiring the right lawyer or you're hiring, you put people who know what they're doing, and in the right positions, and don't try to take everything on yourself. And if you've got a good idea, you've got passion, you can find a product market fit, there's all kinds of fun adventures in front of you.
Great. Okay, so Craig, what about you? You built a company, you took an idea and built it into a pretty big company. So what are the 3 to 5 things that worked?
Yeah, it almost also goes back to like lessons you learned in the house. Like I was a social studies major. I lived in the house for 4.5 years straight. I kind of majored in SAE and getting like legitimately being able to deal with all different types of people and take leadership roles. And, although they kind of seem small looking back on them, they were big deals at the time. It really helped to be able to work with all different types of folks. So, but building a company, like going back to it, like this is my 3rd voice over IP startup, and luckily the first 2 got acquired by Yahoo and Google. And in all cases, it was just really like, again, I'm not technical. I just know what I wanted the products to do and surrounded myself with a great team that could actually build them. But I think that was a little bit of an advantage of just being able to say, look, I don't know how we're going to get it to do this, but I know this is how it should behave and this is how I want it to behave, and really being, really being passionate about it. And, as a CEO, we're now, I guess, about 700 people at the company, but, like, I think I can pretty much do any job in the company other than coding. Sometimes I'll even try to design and mock stuff and stuff, but like being willing and able to do anything, like no job's too small or unimportant. And I'd say, Teddy Roosevelt's got a great quote that, big jobs usually go to the men who prove their ability to outgrow small ones. So wherever it is, whatever it is you're doing, do a great job of it. People will notice. And like I love anytime I can hire someone and they can do more than I expected they could, like they get promoted really quickly and you just keep giving them more and more to do. And I think that's a real great asset. And I think Cal prepares you well for that. I think SAE prepares you well for that, just being able to be scrappy and get things done and do it with a great attitude. And then frankly, going back to Ross's comment, like the empathy thing is really important. Like I used to get pissed if people would disagree with me one of my co-founders this time said, he's like, look, never ascribe malice to something that could be explained by incompetence. And so like sometimes when people are doing the wrong thing or things you don't want them to do, it's not happening out of malice. They think they're doing it the right way and maybe they are, right? So it's not necessarily you're always right. So really kind of understanding the other folks' point of view. And then lastly, I'd say people like to work with people that they like. Like I've been in voice over IP now for 20 years. We work with the same partners all the time and we seek them out because we trust them and we know them, and we like them. And you find people who share your values and people like to work with people who are doing the right thing. So, never burn bridges, never burn people short. Like the Valley's a small community. People know your reputation of being a good guy or a bad guy, and that's hard to shake. So always kind of err on the good side.
Great. The last questions before we go to the breakout, and a few people have touched on this right now. So I got a couple of last questions. How would you, and this is for you, John Dobie, how would you recommend undergraduates successfully network with alumni? What's the best way to go about it?
Well, actually, in my business, that's all I do is networking, putting people together, because that's what you do in commercial real estate. So one is all those SAEs with you are great networks. And then the other one is I still deal with probably 20, probably about 40 SAEs in my business. And so what you need to do is reach out to these older SAEs because they'll connect you. So I constantly get calls from college graduates, college friends of my kids, and always start helping them find other people to talk to. And so what you have to do is just use this SAE network, and everyone has a place that they can point you in the right direction. The other thing is LinkedIn. All these people on this thing are probably on LinkedIn, so you should connect with each one of those and then reach out to them. And you have to have a very good LinkedIn profile. You have to have a good professional photo on there, and you have to have information that's relevant. And so, basically, is create your own platform and start with LinkedIn and start with the people who are on this call, and then expand that. And because I can tell you, each one of these individuals probably can get you connected with somebody who you want to connect with. So
Great. David Morgan, you have anything else to add on to that?
Well, I guess I read the question a little differently on just networking in general. And I think it's helpful to divide networking into purpose. So to me, there's kind of the more transactional networking, whether that's Chamber of Commerce, and that's my least favorite part. But I think focusing for the long term on really the groups where you can share knowledge and gain knowledge, and then also things that give you multiple years of satisfaction, community service, whether that's reconnecting with SAEs or like I've been in Rotary for 20 years and enjoyed that a lot. So just not wasting time, having a clear sense of your purpose and what you're doing, and choose wisely and enjoy them.
Great. Okay, so we might be able to get through one more here. Adam, what do you look for when you hire someone?
I mean, not a lot that hasn't been said. I think we tend to recruit people that are a couple of years out of Cal or other colleges and universities, and I think tend to hire anywhere from 4 to 6 people a year and run through 2 or 3 year programs. And then the people that outgrow their job, as Craig put it, get to stick around. And I think what separates assuming everybody's above a certain bar in terms of their raw skill set, I think what separates people more than anything else is judgment. Not being able to just do the task that they're asked to do, or build a model, or do the case study in the interview, but connect that to what it means. We buy companies and try and fix up the companies, and anyone can be trained how to build a model and tell you what a particular company's worth. And then you say to someone at the end of the interview, what do you think of this business? And that's where most kids haven't really stepped back from the analysis that they know they're supposed to do and really provide perspective. So I guess the advice to all of you is always step back and look at the big picture. Why are you doing something within an organization or as part of an interview? What's the context around it? And I think for most of you guys who survived Cal and got your classes and able to navigate SAE, I think that all that sets you up really well.
Great. So everybody, you should be pre-assigned to a room and be sent here shortly. If not, use the chat room and Eli will try to get you assigned to the right room. But shortly should start happening. So you'll see a join breakout room.
So Lynn, Blake, and Matt Ramey, you are the only guys I don't have assigned to a breakout room yet. If you guys could just either text me on the chat or say out loud which room you'd like to go to, that'd be great.
Yeah, I messaged you in chat.
This is Kevin Rogers. I actually logged in by mistake on my wife's Zoom, so it's Kevin Rogers. I'm in breakout 1.
And Blake Furby and Ryan Morris. The others, you guys should.
Yeah, I was on my phone and I just joined back on my laptop, so I missed like the link. Whatever room, I'll take either one.
Awesome. I'll just send you to which one. And Kevin, did you receive a option to get into the next breakout room? Oh, looks like you did. Blake, are you there? If not, I'm gonna just sign you to a room.